They say you can't run from your past. But what if you could build a new future with your own two hands? In a remote corner of Vietnam, a father is trying to do just that. He's not just teaching his son how to build a roof. He is passing down a legacy. A lesson in patience, written not in words, but in earth, stone, and sweat. But is the foundation they are laying unintentionally unearthing the very things they are trying to bury? Every swing of the pickaxe is not just to clear the earth. It is a promise to this land. A silent pact that this place will be a sanctuary. They are not fighting against nature. They are learning to listen to it. To hear the stories of the wood, of the stone. And in the silence, they find a common language. The sound of the saw tears through the quiet of the forest. But it is not the sound of destruction. It is the prelude to a rebirth. Every grain of wood holds a memory of the forest. And the carpenter with his hands gives it a second life. A life of shelter, a life of embrace. The father's hands, calloused and steady, pass on an ancient wisdom. A wisdom not found in books, but in feeling. Feeling the weight of the wood, the tension of the grain. And the son learns not just with his eyes, but with his entire body and soul. They aren't just fitting joints together. They are connecting the past to the future. Connecting the strength of the father and the hope of the son. This is a slow dance between man and material, an understanding that needs no words. The foundation is complete. It is not just concrete and wood. It is a testament to will. A quiet declaration to the earth and sky. We belong here. Now, from the ground, a shape begins to rise. The walls are not meant to keep the world out. They are raised to embrace a world within. A world of laughter, of evening meals, and of peaceful silence. As the sun sets, the work does not stop. The twilight paints the wood, turning sweat into gold. They are racing not against time, but against the darkness itself. To light a flame of hope before the night takes over. Every nail driven is a heartbeat. A pulse of life being breathed into the lifeless structure. The house is slowly gaining a soul. And the craftsmen are no longer just builders. They have become creators of life. The structure now has a heart. A sturdy skeleton. And it stands there, silent in the dusk, like a promise of a coming dawn. Now it is time to build the roof. The most vital part of a home. It will be the one to bear the reins. The one to welcome the first rays of sun. It is the silent guardian of the dreams below. Their collaboration has now become a symphony. No commands needed, no instructions given. Each one knows his role. Because they are not just building the same house. They are sharing the same dream. The woman who appears is not just an observer. She is the soul of this place. The reason for all of this to exist. This house is a promise made to her. And in their eyes there is pride. Not the pride of a conqueror, but the satisfaction of a creator. They have completed an important phase, and the house can now hold them in its embrace. Standing against the vast backdrop of sea and sky, this small structure holds an extraordinary beauty. The beauty of human will, and the power of a new beginning. The work now shifts to finer details. The wall panels, the final skin of the house. Each board must be measured, cut, and shaped to perfection. Because beauty is not just in the whole. It is hidden in the smallest details. The roof now is no longer just a frame. It is being dressed in its final coat. A coat that will protect the house through the years. The work demands absolute precision. A small mistake could ruin everything. But they work with the confidence of those who know their craft by heart. Their hands glide over the material, both strong and gentle, as if they are conversing with the very house they are creating. Inside, the space begins to take clear shape. Light filters through the unglazed windows, painting shapes on the wooden floor. This place will soon be filled with life. and they are preparing for it. They are not just installing layers of material. They are weaving a warm blanket for the future. The insulation, the waterproofing, are silent promises of safety and comfort. The work on the roof is the most dangerous. It requires absolute trust. Trust in the scaffolding, in a teammate. And most importantly, trust in oneself. Each layer of material that is applied is like a new layer of skin being formed, protecting the heart of the house from the harshest elements. And when the final roofing layer is laid down, a sense of accomplishment envelops them. The house is now structurally complete. It is ready to become a home. Inside, the nervous system of the house is being installed. The electrical wires, like veins, will carry energy to every corner. This work requires precision and patience. One mistake could have dire consequences. But they work with intense focus. The floor, the walls, everything is nearing completion. The house is no longer a bare skeleton. It is being clothed in the garments of life. Their discussion is not loud. It is the exchange of those who share a single vision. They are checking the final details, ensuring that everything is perfect. Not the perfection of a machine, but the perfection of a work made by hand and with heart. And when the work is done, the house stands strong and beautiful, a testament to the power of persistence. The final task, installing the doors and windows. These are not just parts of the house. They are its eyes and its soul. The windows will be where light and air are welcomed, where the space within connects to the world outside. And the door. It is the threshold between the old life and the new. Every time it opens, it's an invitation to the future. Every time it closes, it's a promise of safety. Installing a door is more than a technique. It is a ritual. A ceremony that marks the end of a journey. The journey of turning a dream into reality. Together they overcame every challenge. Together they shared sweat and smiles. And now, together, they admire their achievement. A house built not just with wood and screws. It was built with love, faith, and hope. It stands tall between the earth and the sky. Not as a great architectural feat, but as a monument to simple, great things. And perhaps you can't run from your past. But they have proven one thing: that you can always build a place to come home to. A place where every grain of wood tells a story. A place where every corner holds a piece of its creator's soul. The house now breathes in rhythm with the mountains, and silently watches the sea change with every wave. The story of the construction has ended, but the story of the life within has just begun. To build a home, how deep must one dig into one's own soul? Perhaps the answer lies not in the depth of the foundation, but in the journey of building it. A very special thank you to the owner of the YouTube channel at WildGNOMOs for creating this wonderful video and allowing me to comment. If you enjoyed this narrative, please visit and support their channel at the link in the description below. But to build a world with your own hands. It all begins with a single hammer blow. A burden on the shoulder, a worry left behind. This is a pilgrimage to the earth. He mixes sweat into cement, building a foundation for a life. Every cut of the saw severs a tie. The silence of the forest is the answer. Calloused hands, a healing soul. Chiseling away the old self to find the core. Every nail is an affirmation. The planks come together to form a story. The floor takes shape. This is the stage for a new chapter. A chapter of patience. The foundation is complete. Digging the earth, clearing away the old. Making way for purity to flow. He creates joy from the simple things. This bench is a companion. The first fire, the heart of the home. This insulation is a boundary between peace and the world left behind. He learns the language of wood, listening to the grain for guidance. Every cut is a conversation, a dance of creation. The frame appears through sweat and precision. Every joint fits perfectly. Separate pieces now connected. Nature silently bears witness. A small wooden peg holds it all together. He doesn't fight it. He becomes part of it, measuring to honor the wood's beauty. Sometimes you need a lever. Strength comes not just from muscle, but from ingenuity. Wisdom is the strongest lever, and an understanding of natural laws. The house is finding its voice. The walls rise, defining the space. A safe place for the mind to wander. He works for the joy of creation. When the hands are busy, the mind is calm. He finds his own rhythm. A symphony of wood and metal. Nature reminds him of beauty. And the resilience of life. The roof is not just for shelter. It is his own sky. He adds its protective layer. A promise to cherish this piece. The old fence speaks of impermanence and the need to build things that last. Repetition becomes a form of meditation. The first shell is complete. The house now breathes with the forest. The waterproof layer is a second skin, protecting from the wrath of the heavens. So the warmth within can remain. The final tile, like a crown, every nail is a musical note. The symphony of completion. Satisfaction comes from the result of labor. Seeing an idea become real. But the work is not over. A house cannot stand alone. The porch is built like an open embrace. Welcoming the sun, the wind, and nature. A transitional space between inside and out, between shelter and the wild world. The protective coat is applied. Symmetry creates harmony. Beneath the porch, another hearth is built. A path made from slices of the forest. So every step is a connection. Now, time to tend to the doors. They are not windows. They are living paintings, framing the endless beauty of nature. The stairs are not just for climbing. They lead to the realm of dreams. The structure takes form. An oasis of peace in the green forest. A testament to self-reliance. Now, to bring soul to the space. So every corner tells a story. The loft, a place of potential, where the light dances. The windows are the eyes of the house, to see the world and to have privacy. Nature reminds of beauty and the resilience of life. The roof is not just for cover. It is a private sky, a shelter beneath the stars. The final protective coat. A promise to cherish, to protect the peace he has found. The old, rotting fence, a reminder of impermanence, and of building things to last. The roofing continues. Repetition as a form of meditation. The shell is complete. The house now breathes with the forest. The waterproof layer, a second skin, protecting from the sky's fury. So the warmth remains intact. The final tile is laid. Like a crown, every nail is a note. The symphony of completion. Satisfaction from the result. Seeing an idea become real. But the work isn't over. A house cannot be alone. It needs to connect to the earth. The porch, an open embrace, welcoming the sun, wind, and nature. A transitional space between shelter and the wild. The protective coat is applied. Symmetry creates harmony. Another hearth is built. A path from slices of the forest. So every step is a connection. Time to tend to the doors. They are living paintings, framing nature's beauty. The stairs are not just for climbing. They lead to the realm of dreams. The structure takes form. An oasis of peace. A testament to self-reliance. Now to bring soul to the space. So every corner has a story. The loft, a place of potential, where the light dances. The window is the house's eye, to see the world. And to have privacy. The ceiling, a small sky, sheltering peaceful sleep. Every detail is tended to. This is not mass-produced. It is a work of art, the mark of a human being. The loft floor is finished, sturdy and warm. Ready for footsteps. The final steps. An invitation to enter. A season is ending. Leaves turn, welcoming change. Inside, life begins. A cup of tea, a moment of silence. The reward for hard days. A protective coat for the wood, to make it last through time. The insulation, like an embrace, keeping the warmth in when winter comes. The first light is turned on. Not the light of the city, but the light of a hearth. The final walls are finished. The space is whole. And then the snow begins to fall. A white blanket on the forest. The house is no longer a project. It is now part of the landscape. Inside, the final details. A sliding door, smart and stylish. Painted with love. Every object has a story. Outside, the snow is thicker. He continues to create small comforts. The rope, a rustic touch. a reminder of connection to nature. The folding table, maximizing function in a small space. The heart of the house is built. The fireplace where the fire will dance. Warmth born from contentment. The fire is lit, marking the true beginning of life here. A small space, but it holds a universe. The warm light tells the story of the walls. The fireplace is the beating heart. Every object is a piece of memory. In the silence, he is no longer alone. A cup of tea, a friend. The noisy world has vanished. The sky is gray, but his heart is clear. The final stones for the hearth. Carefully arranged for strength. The house in the snow, warm and quiet. The fire roars, bringing life. He touches his creation. No longer the builder, but the owner. He built a world for his soul to come home to. Peace. A very special thank you to the owner of the YouTube channel at Bjorn Brenton for creating this wonderful video and allowing me to comment. If you enjoyed this narrative, please visit and support their channel. At the link in the description below, they say you can't run from the past. But what if you could build a new future with your own two hands? In a remote corner of the mountains, a woman named Anne is trying to do just that. The first shovelful of dirt isn't meant to break the ground. It's meant to break the silence within her. With every inch of earth turned over, a burden is laid down. She isn't running from her memories. She is digging a place to keep them, to turn their weight into a solid foundation. And upon that foundation, a new life will be sown. Sweat instead of tears. The ache of her muscles for the ache in her soul. The forest doesn't judge. It only watches in silence. And bears witness to a will taking shape. When the hole is deep enough, it's no longer a scar on the land. It becomes a cradle. The timber arrives not as lifeless planks of wood, but as the spine of a future home. Each log is chosen, shaped, and set in its place, just as Ain is reshaping her own life. Some things must be burned to become stronger. The fire tempers the wood, creating a protective char against time. just as adversity has tempered her. From scattered pieces, a frame begins to emerge. The frame of a shelter, the frame of a hope. The work demands strength, but it is guided by gentleness. The strength to lift the heavy logs, and the gentleness to set them in their rightful place. This is not a conquest of nature. It is a conversation between human hands and the wisdom of the ancient forest. Together they create not just a structure, but a harmony. Then the first tarp is laid out. Like a new skin, sheltering the newly formed structure. A thin boundary is drawn between the inside and the outside, between the sanctuary and the world. Inside that small space, she begins to build her own world, layer by layer. And then she brings fire into the home. The heart of the sanctuary begins to beat. A small but resilient flame, enough to chase away the chill of the earth. Enough to illuminate the darkness. And enough to warm a soul that was once cold. Beneath the night sky, by the flickering firelight, loneliness transforms into solitude. Fear gives way to peace. The construction continues at dawn. This time, it is about giving back to the earth what was taken. The house is enveloped by the very land it rests on. Not to hide, but to become one. To become a part of the hill, a part of the forest. To disappear from prying eyes. And to exist only for herself. Inside, the work continues. A pipe is installed, carrying the breath of the outside world. A deliberate, controlled connection. The first floorboard is laid down, creating a solid surface to walk on. No longer the damp earth of the past, but a warm foundation for the footsteps of the future. Each board is measured, cut, and nailed down with precision. The accuracy isn't just in the ruler. It's in the devotion of its maker. The floor is complete, a clean, smooth surface. Now, even a hot cup of tea becomes a ritual. An acknowledgement of the effort expended. A moment to pause and admire. The structure slowly disappears into the earth. enveloped, sheltered, protected. Like a creature of the forest, curled up at rest. On the outside, only the silence of nature remains. But inside, a world is still being created. The house now has its skin of earth, and she dresses it in a coat of green moss, so that time is no longer an enemy. But a friend weaving a lush carpet over the years. This place will not grow old. It will mature. And then she decides to open an eye for the house. A window, not for the world to look in, but for her to look out at the world on her own terms, choosing the view she wants to see each morning. Sunlight will be an invited guest, not an intruder. The inner walls go up. Not to imprison, but to create private spaces. A place for sleep, a place for thought. The sound of the hammer no longer lost in the woods. It becomes the rhythm of a new life taking form. The house is now almost invisible to the outside world. But inside, it is more alive than ever. Sometimes, to find yourself, you must learn to disappear. To build something that lasts, you must start from scratch. And to hear your own voice, you first need silence. This structure, more than just a roof, is an answer. The floor is laid meticulously, each plank fitting snugly. This is the ground where she will stand, steady and secure. Every cut of the saw, every whir of the drill is an affirmation. I am here, I exist, I am building. The house is no longer a bare skeleton. It is being clothed in the layers of life. Patience is the mortar that binds it all together. After the labor comes the cleaning, sweeping away the excess, leaving the pure beauty of the wood, an act symbolic of her own journey. Installing the window is one of the final steps. The glass pane is carefully set into its frame. The sealant closes the last of the gaps, so the warmth cannot escape and the cold cannot enter. The floor is coated with a protective oil. The color of the wood deepens, its grain richer. As if awakened by a human touch. The roof is finished, the final defense against the sky. Now, through rain or shine, the world within is safe. Inside, a heart of iron waits to be installed. The wood stove, the epicenter of warmth. It is placed with reverence upon a slab of solid stone. This is where the fire will dance, telling stories on winter nights. And its warmth will radiate, seeping into every fiber of the wood, chasing away any lingering chill from the world outside. The work demands precision, ensuring absolute safety. Heat shields are carefully installed around the chimney, because peace is only complete when it is safe. She prepares the first kindling. More than just fuel, it is a promise of hot meals, a promise of light in the long nights. Outside, the process of blending with nature continues. Moss is laid on the roof like a blanket from Mother Nature. The house is learning to breathe with the forest. The last of the pipes are sealed. No gaps for worries to creep in. Everything must be sealed. The final wall is erected, completing the final protective perimeter. The door to Anne's private world. The window frame is installed. The eye of the house is now open. Not to build, but to complete. Closing the final details of an old chapter. And preparing to open a new one. Earth is piled up, covering the last traces of construction. The structure now belongs completely to the hill. Take shape. A small path that leads to peace. Not a path for everyone, but a threshold reserved for her alone. The hinges are installed. The door to the sanctuary will soon be able to close. A simple act, but one full of meaning. It is the right to choose. The right to shut out the noisy world behind. At night, the work doesn't stop. Under a dim light, she finishes what is left. A devotion that knows no day or night. Because this is not a job. This is a mission. Outside, the door opens, smoke from the stove drifting gently upwards. forest to its original, untouched state. Inside, the steps are cleaned and painted. Even the smallest details are attended to. Because a house is not just a place to live. It is a reflection of the soul of its creator. And then the door closes. A soft click echoes. The outside world is left behind. The structure has vanished. All that remains is a lush, peaceful hill. As if no human hand had ever touched it. And didn't build a house to run away from something. She built a world to return to. To return to herself. To return to the silence. And here in the heart of the earth, she finally found not an escape, but a home. A place to begin again. From the very beginning. Entirely on her own terms. In the great silence of the forest. A new pulse, soft but steady. The pulse of a heart that has found peace. The pulse of life. The pulse of a home within the earth. A very special thank you to the owner of the YouTube channel at Alex_Wildlife for creating this wonderful video and allowing me to add this narrative. If you enjoyed this story, please visit and support their original channel. The link is in the description below.